The Legion, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ludi, and today we'll be doing our EU4 1.30 starting moves guide for Morocco. In this guide we'll be going over the estates and economy, vassal management, diplomacy and war preparations, early wars, missions, as well as your later expansion and ideas. Before we start the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, commented, as well as hit that subscribe button and leave the bell button on. If we can get this video to 900 likes, then I am gonna do a giveaway for an EU4 DLC or the base game. One really cool achievement that you can get as the Moroccans is the Sudanese expedition, whereas starting as Morocco you need to conquer the Niger and the Sahel regions, both of which should be quite easy to manage if you follow your mission tree. When discussing the estates, the first thing you want to do is summon the diet and go for whichever agenda best suits you, followed up by seizure of land that gets rid of the negative modifiers that you start off with. The privileges given to the ulema are going to be the oversight by the ulema and monopoly on wool. For the Merchants Guild, we're going to be giving the free enterprise, monopoly on textiles, and the private trade fleets. For the Demis, the promote the Demi nobles, which gives us +1 leaders without upkeep. And for the Amirs, we're going to be giving the right of council, supremacy over the crown, as well as the strong duchies that gives us -10 liberty desire and subjects and +2 diplo relation slots, which means we have 3 extra diplo relation slots from the start. Our 3 subjects do have a tendency of starting out as very disloyal, especially Sus. 90% of the times they start off as disloyal. Marrakesh and Tafilalt do not usually start off as disloyal, instead they are loyal. But if Sus does start out as disloyal, even if you manage to give the privilege strong duchies and they are now loyal and it's still 11th of November, as soon as you unpause, the Castilians are going to be supporting their independence on the 12th of November. So before you even unpause, you want to do some things that will help out with Sus. One more thing we need to do before that is a lenient taxation that gives +1 diplo reputation and liberty desire and subjects -15% for the next 20 years, so all of your subjects are going to be super loyal. Do remember that you start off with cores on all 3 of your subjects and the province of Ceuta that belongs to Portugal at the start. So in 1454 all you need to do is just click on integrate once you have the relations with these vassals, and it's going to take 1 month integrating all 3 if you manage to keep on to all 3 of them. When discussing the trade situation, you're going to be basically set up in the Sus trade node or the Safi trade node, as well as the Sevilla trade node, but your merchants are going to be collecting in Tunis. We want to change to transfer trade power from Tunis to Sevilla, and we're going to leave the other guy here to collect from the Sevilla trade node, as well as we are already collecting from our main trade node of the Safi trade node. One thing you need to take note of is the gold mine in Tafilalt, which belongs to your vassal at the very start, but after 1454, once we finish integrating them, we're gonna be having direct ownership over this gold mine, and we want to boost this up to 10 production devs so that we can get about 5 ducats a month from this one gold mine. Another gold mine that is quite easy for us to reach early on is the Castilian gold mine of La Mancha, and we will be gunning for this as we want to form Andalus in the long run. And some other gold mines we have in the North African part here, sub-Saharan part, which we cannot see right now, but there are a lot of gold mines there that we will be going for also. When discussing your rivals, you should always rival the Portuguese and the Castilians, no matter who rivaled you. And as a third option to rival, well, it depends whether Tlemcen or Tunis rivaled you. If they did, then you can rival them back. If they didn't, then I recommend you rival the Aragonese, as you're going to basically be fighting in the Iberian Peninsula for a very long time. Alliance-wise, if Tunisia doesn't rival you, then you definitely should ally them, at least in the very beginning. It is a good ally to have. And you also want to be improving relations with the Ottomans, as in the long run they will be able to ally you after you've gotten a bit bigger, especially after you eat up Tlemcen. They will be more than happy to ally you, so go for the improved relations with them at the very start. Our first war is going to be against Tlemcen, but before we even start getting ready for the war, we are going to have to hire the free company, which is going to bring us up to 21 out of 21. Basically, we are going to be at 100% land force limit. Another thing we'll be doing is we'll be raiding the coastlines of Portugal, Castile, as well as Aragon, since we have the ability to raid coastlines if you have the Mare Nostrum DLC. Raiding the coastlines is going to give us around 700 sailors at the very start and 300 ducats, so it's a good idea. Now, as I was previously saying, Sus is going to be super disloyal 90% of the times. If they are loyal, then do not do what I'm about to do, but if they're disloyal, then you have to do it. what you need to do is go to your subjects, go to Sus, go to seize land, and seize the province of Agadir. This is going to make them extremely disloyal. They're going to be up to 58%, but you're going to take one of your cores back from them, namely Agadir, as you start off with cores on all of their provinces. Your vassal, Tafilalt, has cores on Sus and Quarzazate, so you really just need to feed these two cores to your other vassal. After you've taken Agadir, make sure you placate local rulers and you seize the other province of Ifni. This is going to make them disloyal again, but it is a-okay. Bear with me. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to go to the Merchants Guild and we're going to give the Patronage of the Arts privilege, which is going to give us a bit of prestige, so we're going to be over negative prestige. As such, what we can do next is go to Sus and we can break our vassalage. This is extremely important, as if you don't break your vassalage, then you're going to be dragged into a very early war against Castille, since they're going to be supporting independence of Sus. Breaking the vassalage also means that you lose your cores on both of these provinces, but your other vassal Tafilalt has cores on these two provinces, and you manage to get your cores back from them. If you didn't get these two cores before, then you would have had no cores on these two provinces and you would have had to core them manually after the war against Sus. You have a truce with them until 1449, so in 1449 make sure you just attack them and give these two cores back to your vassal here. Booyah, that is your problem with the vassals solved right there. I know this has been bothering a lot of people, and hopefully this manages to help you guys out. We also want to make our commander here, well, our king here, a general. Since he is absolute trash, we want to get rid of him, and we're going to be focusing on military points as well, and go for whichever advisors best suit you. For military, I would recommend either discipline or morale, and for diplo, either diplo relations or trade efficiency, but if neither of these are available, then do not bother with any of them for now. What we want to do get, however, is an admin advisor, so national tax would be perfect, but it's not always available, so if it's not, either unrest or production efficiency are good too. So whilst we wait for everything to happen, we're going to be making a claim on the Granada nation. If they get allied to the Tunisians, that's going to make it a bit more complicated, but it's not impossible, as we're going to be dragging the Tunisians in our war against Tlemcen, and whilst we're at war with Tlemcen, we're going to be attacking Granada. Thus, the Tunisians are not going to be helping the Granadans when we attack them. So start raiding the coastlines. Booyah, we got 44 ducats. Move one fleet on this side, the other one on the other side. We're going to move at the same time on both sides and raid every single coastline they have. On the 11th of December, we will be able to attack Tlemcen, which is allied to Sus and Jerid. So if they ally Sus, that's going to be even easier for us, since we can just kill them off very early. We don't even need to wait for 1449 to strike. Raid the coastline in the Gulf of Almeria and head on over to Valencia. Do the same thing in Cadiz and go over to the Lusitanian Sea. Raid Valencia and then go to Leon. And last, the Lusitanian Sea is going to be raided, and then you can send your ships back home. Raiding the Gulf of Leon is a bit of an iffy thing. If you do raid it, you're going to be raiding the French lands as well, which basically means that you're going to get -50 relations with the French, but that is okay. We don't want to get an alliance with France right now. So afterwards, send your ships back home to Melilla, as you cannot raid anything else in this area. Make sure to get royal marriages with both of your vassals. And on the 11th of December, you should attack Tlemcen. You have already a reconquest CB, as your vassal has a core on Figuig. Make sure you call in the Tunisians and you promise them land, and you can also co-belligerate the Jerid or whichever other nations they have here, which we can either feed to the Tunisians or we can vassalize ourselves, depending on how the war goes. Remember that you're also getting the Susians in the war, so you want to focus on them as well. You can also get a second general. If you're lucky, you get a siege pip. Make sure to keep your fleet in the Gulf of Almeria as well as the Barbary coast to block off the Tlemceni and get some more war score. Make sure you instruct your vassals to siege down enemy lands to help you out, make it faster. Make sure that you also take the provinces that you're interested in before the Tunisians do. Preferably, you want to take all the provinces from Tlemcen, but a lot of the times the Tunisians will be rushing for the fort in Dara, so you can just let them take Dara as long as you take the rest of the nation here. Whilst you're busy fighting Tlemcen and you called in Tunis, their ally Granada is going to be your next target, so make sure you get a claim on them and you attack them. Tunis cannot join since they're fighting in a war with me together against the Tlemceni, so we're going to use our fleet to ferry over our army to the Granadan side. Whilst that is all happening, we're going to be annexing all of these lands, give it back to Tafilalt since they have a coronet, take the cash as well. you're taking 25 aggressive expansion, but by the time you peace out the Tlemcen as well as Granada, you should be a-okay with it. I recommend that you build 11 galleys with the sailors that you took from the various nation you raided and the money that you took from them, as you're going to need these galleys shortly when we have to go to war against the Castilians. The 11 new galleys that you're going to be recruiting will come in handy, as the Castilian fleet is quite large and they have heavy ships, but they don't have galleys and they're fighting in inland seas, so you should have an advantage in the battles. Remember that around 1448, the truce between Castile and Granada is going to be expiring, and once that happens, the Castilians will definitely attack Granada. Option number one is that you wait for the Castilians to attack Granada, and then you're going to be pulled into a defensive war, and it means that your ally Tunis is also going to join, as well as your vassals. You also have the option of piecing out Granada, making them your vassal now, and then with them as a vassal, piece out Tlemcen, and then allying the Ottomans. If you improve relations with the Ottomans, they definitely will ally you after you finish your wars. Make them a vassal and take all of their cash. They're going to be quite disloyal, but it's not an issue. We have enough time to improve relations and make them loyal with us. Wait for one day, and then we can peace out the Tlemcen as well. It's going to give us a coalition of nations we don't care about whatsoever. It is going to make the Tunisians quite upset with us. If you did co-belligerate some nations in this area as well, it depends whether the Tunisians are interested or not, and if they're not interested, they're going to let you occupy the lands. If you are the one occupying the lands, you have enough diplo relation slots and you should be able to deal with this easily, so just vassalize them yourself if the Tunisians are not interested. If they are interested, just hand it over to Tunis. Then we're going to go back to our main area here, and we're going to be fully annexing everything. It should cost you 100% to annex all of these provinces here, and go for that. Booyah. And now we can ally the Ottomans. There you go. We just have to wait for our diplomat to come back. There you go. And now we have the Ottomans as our ally. That means if the Castilians choose to attack us, they're gonna basically kill themselves. Having the Ottomans as an ally means we can invite the Scholar of Hanafi, which gives us administrative technology cost minus 5% for 20 years. Before you start coring up everything, remember that you can actually release the nation of Algiers as a vassal and feed them back the Tunisian cores of Dara and Mitija. If you are struggling with coring up stuff, you can also give some of the Algerian lands to Algiers. After you've secured Tlemcen and have managed to deal with your vassals, you really want to take care of whatever is left in this area before the either Tunisians become super disloyal and break the alliance, or the Castilians attack you, so that you get a better, stronger nation before that happens. So in my case here, I have the vassal of Jedid, and they apparently have made some claims on Touggourt and Bouya. We're going to go for that. Afterwards, we're also going to make a claim on Mzab. If Tunis is still loyal despite not getting too much land, keep the alliance, as we want to have the Tunisians as an ally for now until we finish the war with Castile and integrate our vassals to the south. Also be careful when co-belligerating nations and wars. If the nation you're co-belligerating is allied to a stronger nation, do not co-belligerate. It is okay to take a bit more aggressive expansion and just not have to deal with a massive alliance block. If you're coming really close to the Mamluks, I recommend that you improve relations with them for a while, as you don't want to have any trouble with the Mamluks. Make sure you don't have too many coalition members whenever you're piecing out people. When taking out provinces that are seriously just very low dev like these three here, it is not really worth it just giving it to your vassal. You can just core it yourself. It doesn't cost that much admin, and it is a lot less of a hassle that you have to deal with these nations when you integrate them later on. Also remember that paying off the debt of your vassals is going to seriously lower their disloyalty, so it is always great to check if they have a debt so you can just pay it off. If you do take the Algerian lands, especially if you take Fezzan, the Tunisians will definitely break their alliance with you. I mean, we're basically just surrounding them right now, so they have no expansion paths except into us, so it is understandable. On the 11th of November 1454, you can start integrating Tafilalt as well as the other nation of Marrakesh. Marrakesh is literally going to take 1 month to integrate, but Tafilalt is going to take a few years, so I actually recommend that you start integrating Tafilalt and wait for a couple of years, since they have the added province of Sus as well as Ouarzazate. So if you instantly integrate Marrakesh, it's going to give you -3 diplo relations, and it's going to make it a lot harder getting Tafilalt integrated. Also, when it comes to the Castilian, Portuguese, Aragonese area, It really is super RNG. In my game, apparently, both the English and the Castilians have allied the Portuguese, so it's the Holy Trinity here. The Holy Trinity is getting its butt kicked by the French, and Castile also lost a massive war against Aragon. Whatever the case, be a scavenger, and whenever you can, attack whoever you can attack. The best option would be to attack Portugal and get Ceuta back, but then you'd really have to wait until the right moment arrives and you actually can attack the Portuguese without having to worry about the English and the Castilians, or vice versa, attack the Castilians without having to worry about the Portuguese. When discussing the Moroccan mission tree, you actually have 3 parts to your mission tree. The first, and that is the right hand side part, you need to have an explorer and you need to own the Canaries, or at least one part of this, which is going to give you colonial range plus 25 for 20 years. Eventually, after you colonize Brazil, you get some more missions and you eventually get the chance of becoming a new world power that gives you global tariffs plus 5 until the end of the game, and 3 mercantilism. The left hand side of the mission tree focuses on developing your nation at first, which eventually is going to trigger an event that will lead you down. Once you've integrated your vassals here, you're going to get through an event the province of Tuat, and you're going to get permanent claims on all of the African areas here, as well as you're going to be able to discover entire regions. You can have permanent claims on the Songhai areas, the Mali, literally all of the Central African or Sub-Saharan Africa from your mission tree. If you want to form Andalusia, I highly recommend that you don't do it until you finish your mission tree, as you get a lot of permanent claims and it would be a waste since you don't get those permanent claims as Andalusia. At one point in the game, you're going to get the Wattasid Revolt event chain. After you finish that, or if you didn't get it, or if you didn't finish it and it's the 1500s, then you're going to get a permanent claim on the Algiers and North African region, which we already have by 1450, so this mission is kind of useless at this point. Afterwards, once you control Algiers, you're going to get production efficiency, and once you reconquer Ceuta, you get a permanent claim on the Upper Andalusia region, which is basically the nation of Granada, which we already have. So again, another useless mission. Once you do have that and you've enacted the previous missions, you're going to get claims on the rest of southern Iberia, and eventually once you've gotten all of those provinces, you can get the Reconquista for 20 years that gives missionary strength and morale of armies. Another part of your mission tree, after you manage to get 25% trade power from Moroccan privateers in the Strait of Gibraltar, you're going to get another mission enacted that eventually will lead you to pirate heaven, for which you need to have 8 dry docks or docks, and you need to have a subject nation that is a pirate republic, as well as privateer 25% of the Ligurian trade sea. After you get that, you're going to get claims on Tunis, and eventually you're going to get galley combat ability plus 20 for 20 years after you conquer Tunis. After the conquest of Timbuktu, you can establish the Black Guard that gives you plus 2.5 discipline until the end of the game if you have 10 regimental camps in the provinces in Timbuktu. And the most random of all missions is the raid on Iceland, where you need to have 25 devastation in Reykjavik, and it has to be at war with Morocco, whoever owns it. This is going to give you some sailors as well as permanent claims on the Isles and the North Atlantic Islands area. Eventually this will lead to heavy ship combat ability plus 10 until the end of the game. Personally, I am quite disappointed with the Moroccan mission tree. The only good part about the Moroccan mission tree, and the only one that actually helps, is going down the Imperial Cities line, conquest of Timbuktu and the Songhai campaign, etc. Basically this area. The rest of these, you're gonna get them super late. By the moment you get them, you already should have all of these provinces as part of your nation. So really, this is the only area of the mission tree that is worth it and you should follow up with before switching on over to the Andalusian mission tree and the Andalusian ideas that will give you claims on the whole Muslim world. When deciding which idea to be going for first, it really depends whether you have admin, diplo, or military points lying around. If you have to go for a military idea first, you should go for quantity ideas, since it offers everything that you need, namely manpower recovery, manpower, as well as land force limit, and even some extra bonuses to your army maintenance cost and etc. Quantity goes extremely well when mixed in with either religious or economic ideas, and as a first admin idea, I would strongly recommend going for economic ideas ideas, since pretty much all of the ideas here are really good, and especially since you need the yearly inflation reduction, because you're going to be having the mines in Talifalt as well as the mine in La Mancha pretty early on in the game. And if you expand into sub-Saharan Africa, you're going to have a lot more mines, and that's going to help you out with a lot of inflation that you're going to be getting. Most likely you will not have admin points lying around, so you will be going for a military idea first. As such, quantity would be your first one, followed up by economic. And whenever you get diplo idea points, well, it really depends. If you want to go for a colonial Morocco, it is good, and you even have a mission tree that helps you with colonizing and establishing a colonial Moroccan empire. But that being said, you're not gonna have points lying around when it comes to your diplo points, seeing as you're gonna have to annex first off all of your vassals. So going for exploration is good as long as it is the third idea set that you take after military and admin, of course. Later down the line, I also recommend going for religious ideas if you're planning on expanding into the European as well as the African continents. And offensive ideas are super good as well if you're going into the eastern parts and you want to reestablish the Andalusian hold on pretty much all of the Muslim world. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as well as leave the bell button on if you like to see more videos from my channel. And I also want to really thank my patrons so much. Thank you so much, guys. It means the world to me that you guys are supporting me financially. And if anybody else wants to become a patron, then you can check the link in the description. So until the next one, have a great day, everybody.